Hey, what's up, everybody? Darvell back. We're going to talk about now the requirements for actually obtaining the PMP, or at least sitting for the exam. This was a lot of research on my part as well when I first started, because it wasn't always, it was clearly written out, but there's a point where you're trying to understand how to actually do the application. The description section is the most challenging part of the entire application process. And I'm going to talk about that in the next video. But right now, we're going to just look at real quick the basic requirements as they stand here in September 2024 to actually apply for the PMP exam. So let me look here and pop over to the PMP site. Okay, so this is PMI.org, the Project Management Institute. They are the ones who issue the Project Management Professional credentials. And so they give you basically a quick outline here when you go to checking your eligibility. And so there are 3 different scenarios of requirements that you might fall under. The first scenario is if you just only have a high school diploma. Second one is if you have a bachelor's degree. And the third one is if you have a bachelor's degree or higher. Well, the second one is bachelor's degree or higher as well, but the third one is a bachelor's degree or higher from or in a program that was GAC accredited. The GAC accreditation stands for Global Accreditation Center for Project Management Education Programs. So basically, PMI has a accreditation program available for universities and schools to submit their programs that are related to project management to receive a PMI certification within that program. And the reason that is a PMI accreditation for that program. And what that helps is just make sure that the curriculum and what have you that those programs are using, those degree programs are using, are in alignment with what PMI believes project managers should have. And the benefit of having had a GAC accredited program for yourself, if you got a degree out of a GAC accredited program, the benefit is that you have a lower experience threshold, but it's only by a year. So if you happen to have that program, great. If not, it's fine. Most people are going to be the second set of requirements, set B, and that's what I fell into as well. So all it requires is that you have the degree. You have 36 months or 3 years of experience leading and managing projects within the past 8 years. And so that means that they don't have to be projects that were back to back, but you have to have accumulated at least 36 months of experience doing these projects as a leader, which in you have to lead like a multiple people team or multiple persons effort to bring about a specific outcome. There's a definition as to what a project is. There's a very specific definition for what a project is to ensure you don't confuse project work with operational or continuous operations, daily operations work. They want to make sure you're submitting project work as your actual 3 years or 36 months of experience. So they're very bullish on that. So that's the big one that you just, you grow into, you get that experience. And then the last one is a 35 hours of project management education or training. Or if you have the CAPM certification already, that can sit in place of that if you have the CAPM certification. So that 35 hours of project management education that they're talking about here, that is basically going to be fulfilled through a class. Most people are going to do an online class, and they can complete that as quickly as, maybe a week or two, or it can take you as long as you like it to, whether it be a month or several months. And so that 35 hours of project management education, once that's done, you're going to get a certificate, a PDF or something that's going to show you completed that class online, and you move on and you're ready to actually apply. So the big thing is that you can substantiate the 3 months or 36 months of experience, and that you have the 35 hours of training or education completed. And so there are certain online classes you can take. So for example, here we are on Udemy. So Udemy is an online education platform. The reason I come over here is that this was a highly recommended way to find a class to fulfill the 35 hours. And one class in particular stands out for most people. It is missing. It was here. I don't know where it's at. Let me see. That's a review. Where's this stuff at? So anyway, we're looking here, right? And there's a couple classes here that specifically mention in 35 PDUs, or 35 professional development units. If you see here, that's what PMI wants you to have before you apply for the exam. You have to complete a class like this that specifically has at least 35 essentially contact hours of education around project management. And once you get that threshold met, you can use that evidence to apply for the exam. But there are a couple of different people who create programs, as you can see, highly rated, over 100,000 reviews on the Joseph Phillips. There's over 17,000 on the Umar Wakar. Excuse me if I mispronounce his name. But the one that I took was by Andrew Ramdayal. And I'm wondering where it is. Here it is. So if you look, there's these three. And so his is called PMP Certification Exam Prep Course, 35 PDU contact hours. It was pretty good. I really liked sitting through some of his videos. He's got a good sense of humor. And it was a really good time. And it has over 97,000 positive reviews, sitting at a 4.7 rating. So, if I recommended something personally, I would say just go ahead and do Andrew Ramdayal's video, or rather his exam here. Right now, you see, I actually purchased this exam already. I purchased it in 2023. And it has a practice test, essentially, and then a bunch of quizzes in between and things like that. And so it shows you here, what are you going to learn? You're going to get that 35 hours that you need by requirement of PMI. And then you're also going to learn things about how to pass the certification exam. You're going to learn all the different formulas. You're going to learn about estimating and communicating. You're going to learn about agile project management. You're going to learn all the processes and all the different things that PMI wants you to know before you sit down for the exam. So the course is very comprehensive, and you see it's got a ton of different chapters to it with hours upon hours of content right here. Just processes to manage a traditional or predictive project. There's over 9 hours of content in there. So you're going to have to you got to complete a course like this and get those 35 hours in and complete it. And to be honest with you right now, this class, I don't know how much it was. Over here it's showing $125. Low key, you can, one thing is it does change price sometimes. So check in. It might be a discount, might be on sale, might be, a lower price. Look for price drops and changes on this course at least, and maybe some of the others, as well as think about, he actually has a book that he speaks on early on in the class. He has a book, and he mentions that the book is optional. And so I got the book thinking it would follow along with the course. It doesn't track with the course at all. It actually was not necessary at all. He tells you in the course you don't need it, but he does mention the book and he shows the book. I bought the book, and it turned out that book at that time on Amazon, it comes with the course included in the cost. So you essentially are entitled to redeem, the email his company, Technical Institute of America, and say, hey, I bought this book off of Amazon, and they will give you access to this online Udemy course, I believe. I might be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. You get access to this course basically free for buying the book. So that's a way to get it too. Check the price on Amazon, check the price on here. If one's lower, you maybe go that route, but double check before you buy the book. Double check that that's still part of the offer, that if you get the book, you get access to the course or some 35 PDU or 35 contact hour PMP preparation course for included with the cost of the book. Double check that. Anyway, I just want to talk about the class and the content and kind of what you're going to learn, no matter whose it is, but most specifically, I can talk about Andrew's course here. First of all, you're going to learn what is the PMP, kind of what's the essence of it, what is the value proposition of the PMP. You're going to learn all the terminology that is relevant to project management and PMI and PMP. All that terminology, you're going to learn it throughout the course. There's even like downloadable PDFs and other educational assets that you're able to download and keep and use for studying and preparing yourself for the exam. You're going to learn the project manager mindset. The mindset is a big deal in this entire journey. This mindset concept is kind of how do you view and think about managing projects in such a way that you're going to always advocate for success of the project over everything else. Outside of safety issues, right? Safety is non-negotiable. He talks about that as well. In terms of like if you're on a construction project, if safety is a factor and something's not safe, you're going to stop the project. But in a lot of cases, they're going to advise that you don't just arbitrarily stop because it's something you have to get authorization to stop. And so it teaches you some of these fundamentals about how you conduct yourself as a proper project manager. Some people may say, well, that's already known. I already know that, this and that. And it's like, well, okay, this is going to reinforce that. And it's going to give you credential to know that that is the expectation, no matter what industry, no matter what the situation is outside of safety issues. The expectation is that you carry forward until you have authorization to stop, right? So you're always fighting to get the project done on time, within budget, and with quality. They talk about quality a lot in this as well. Additionally, philosophies and theories around people leadership. Look, people leadership is a huge portion of being a project or a program manager, any type of leader, which you are when you're a program project manager. These roles require a lot of people skill and working with people and not convincing, but actual persuasion and problem solving and conflict resolution. A lot of these different ways of approaching these situations are presented in just his course alone, as well as they're reinforced in the study materials you may use after you get approved to sit for the exam, because the exam is going to quiz you over a lot of it. The exam is going to test you on a lot of your understanding of how to deal with conflicts and things like that. So this is a big area. Another one is ethics, related somewhat to the philosophies around people leadership, is the ethics on how do you deal with situations when, third parties or suppliers or vendors and whoever, contractors, they say they haven't been paid and they want more money, or they're threatening to stop stuff, or things are arriving late. Those type of things, you get kind of trained on the proper directionally correct approach on how to deal with that and how to use the company or organization's existing assets and processes in addressing such things, or how to set up such assets, processes, or procedures to address such things. Additionally, he does talk about the nuts and bolts of how to apply for the exam. And again, I talked about the formulas, the different terminology, the other assets that help you understand and learn. Those are all part of the course. You can just download those and keep those and use those to prepare for the actual exam. And of course, inside of this actual course are quizzes and actual mock exam. And all of these are set up to emulate to the best of, whatever, TIA and Andrew's intention are. They are set up to be very close to what you experience on the real exam at PMI, for the PMP. So those are the two major things you're going to have to do, right? Just coming back to the top of the ticket here, you got your degree, you're going to get your 3 years of experience in, and then you're going to take a class such as Andrew's or anyone else's who's out there that you like. Take their class. You're going to learn a lot of stuff. You're going to learn nearly enough to actually maybe have a good chance at getting a decent score on the PMP, but I would not advocate that you go straight from that class and just take the exam. Don't do that. I don't think that that's going to work. You're going to have to take some real heavy mock exams, and I'm going to talk about that next or in future videos. What does that study? And you got to really study. What does that look like? So that's kind of what happens to get ready for actually applying. So you're going to prepare to apply. You're going to take this class. You're going to you're going to also, you are going to have to account for the 36 months of experience. So the 36 months of experience, I'm wondering if they have anything here on that to make it very clear. But that's a very important area to understand. I don't see anything immediately on here, but I can explain it very easily. So the 36 months of experience, you have to have experience leading real projects. Projects have a definition of being, they have a distinct deliverable, whether it be a product, an improvement in a process or procedure, eradication of an issue, improvement of a situation, whatever. It has a distinct deliverable. They have basically a finite amount of time that they're planned to be done for until that goal is met. And then, of course, you have multiple people involved in it, and it's not just you alone. These things make up the basic tenets of what PMI considers a project, and you have to have at least 36 months accumulated of that type of work. It doesn't mean that you had to come in at the beginning of it or that you even were there at the end of it, but you do need to be able to account for all of that time that you've done these different projects, and it can be across multiple companies. But I do advise that if you can accumulate the work within, a certain manager or within a certain company, try to keep that focused, because you're going to need to, for the next step when you apply, you're going to need to contact that manager. In my opinion, this is the current advice. Take that job description, or rather the amount of experience you've decided to tabulate to use to submit for your application. You want to make sure that the descriptions that you've written for those particular roles to substantiate you are actually doing project leadership work, you want to run those descriptions by those managers if you can, and get their knowledge and awareness that you're about to apply for a PMP exam, so that in case you are audited, which it does happen. I think it's like 10% of applicants get automatically flagged for audit for no reason you can control. And if that happens, they're going to require those managers to read that description and verify that they agree that you actually did those things. So if you put something down and you don't run it by them in advance, there's a risk, depending on your relationship with that person, that they might not agree that this is relatively accurate or it's accurate at all. So you need to write it and get it ready, and then have those persons, whether they be a director, senior manager, or your immediate supervisor, have them review it and potentially sign off and say, yeah, I'm okay with that. In case you're audited, I will say that, yes, this is true, and that you did do it for this length of time. And therefore, you can add those up and get that 36 months of experience required, or whatever it may be, depending on your situation. So anyway, I know I've been talking for a little bit of time here. I'm 16 minutes in. This is not supposed to take this long, but I did want to just talk about those things of applying. Take the class, make sure you accumulate the 36 months of experience. You account for that, and you know that these are projects and that they're all going to pass snuff. And then last but not least, get that experience bought off by those managers in advance, so that they know in case you get that audit, you can just email them really quick. They can sign off and be done with it the same day. Anyway, next video, I'm going to talk about the real application process. Thank you all so much for watching.